The news and views expressed herein are the sole property of Kenosha Today. Certain portions of this program may be unsuitable for children, sensitive adults, small animals, and the general public. Viewer discretion is advised. Well, the holidays are over.
Let's crank it up, Elmo.
Let's go.
Merry New Year!
Merry New Year!
Everybody, this is Uncle Scotty Barter along with Elmo the Insane, and welcome to the January 2nd, our first show of the
2021.
2021. Thank
Ever
you
think
for
you'd ever lived to see the year this high?
I may have, but there's other opinions that are out there. Edition of the Saturday Morning Breakfast Club. We are now on a mission to broadcast in 2021 anywhere on the wonderful planet. We are going to take 2 weeks off, and so our next show will be on the 23rd. Mm-hmm. And hopefully that's almost about when Channel 14 will be back. They might be back a week later or so, but I just checked.
Back on.
But you can still get us on YouTube. Just type in Kenosha Today, and hopefully it'll come up there.
It should.
I know that's not what I was referring to, the other. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we are streaming live across the very snow-filled cornfields of the Midwest to everyone around the world. We are brought to you this morning by our major sponsors, Barter's Financial Planning Services, along with a host of other very fine local businesses. We remain committed to the great city of Kenosha, and we will continue to broadcast live and local, bringing you the most up-to-date news, weather, sports, and entertainment. Of course, we welcome your call-ins, 262-597-3020. We have kind of a loose outline or format for today, which is a lot different than what we normally do. Hey, I want to start the new year off right. We're going on 25 years come April, and I just want to make sure I don't lose the magic touch. And again, if you want to watch the replay, just go to YouTube, put in Kenosha Today Breakfast Club, and there you go. All right, and everybody can now sign up with the thousands of our fans who have joined the Kenosha Today Nation. Like us on Facebook. Again, our number is 262-597-3020. It is 25 degrees here in the Kenosha Today Nation this morning. You know, it's amazing. The stock market's still over 30,000 and stayed there almost the whole month of December. So I have to see how that works. And so the Kenosha Today Saturday Morning Breakfast Club starts right now. All right, let's. The plan is to go back over the year and talk about the highlights.
Were there any?
Well, no, there weren't. No, so let's move right to all the rest of my long list here. You know, we're going to let you folks decide what you think was the most important issue of 2020, whether it be COVID-19 pandemic. Unfortunately, there's over 350,000 deaths in some parts, like California. They're running out of space, and I don't know what's going to happen in Florida and California, around the nation. Now, all of a sudden, this last week, a new strand comes, and I don't know where that's going to play into the place, but we'll let you folks decide.
They're saying the vaccine will be effective against that, too.
Really?
Because it's so similar, the basic structure of the virus is the same. So
I heard because of that, some of the suggestions was, and because we're millions away from getting this out there where it should be, but hopefully in the next couple of weeks, that they would take everybody and at least get one shot to everybody and then come back at a later date. And they said, no, that's not going to work. You have to do the second shot within the 21 days or the 28 days.
I was at my dentist this week, and the hygienist was telling me that there's a bill pending in the state legislature to let dentists give the vaccine. Says,
more the merrier.
We give people shots, for pain and stuff like that. So, what's the difference? We stick you in the arm or we stick you in the mouth? What the?
Just don't stick me in the buttocks. That's not a bad
that'll
idea.
Be interesting.
I mean, they do that. And what's more sensitive? Shooting a shot of Novocaine in your gum. but they're going to probably want some money for that.
Oh, sure. It's just another service they
Yeah.
can do. So.
But now, if you go, I don't know if, let's say, if you go to a CVS or a Walgreens, I mean, there's no cost to you, but I've got to imagine that they're charging somebody something.
Well, the taxpayers.
Well,
so
yeah, but they're not. It's not
one way or another,
Yeah,
they're getting
right.
paid for it. You may not pay directly, but
Yeah. Or then, back in over, I think it was Memorial Day weekend when George Floyd got snuffed out, and then of course we had Jacob Blake incident here in Kenosha, and by the way, that verdict is yet to come, and come tomorrow or Monday, I should say, the city council is going to vote to give Mayor Antaranian certain powers for a 30-day period, like he had back. Well, it was too late by the time they gave it to him back
Right.
in August and September, but apparently
Emergency powers.
Emergency powers. So he doesn't have to get approval from the city council to call up the National Guard or block off streets or whatever he's got to do. And this was predicated on a call earlier last week from District Attorney Michael Gravely, and he says the decision's going to come within the next couple weeks. And I don't know if this is going to be real popular with everybody, but we'll have to see. If they're giving the mayor emergency powers, I hope they put plans. If it's not going to come out in favor,
I don't know about nothing good will happen from this, no matter what.
either way,
Yeah.
more so if they rule that excessive force, because this went to an ex-police chief from Madison. He's had this thing for 3 months, I think, at least.
Well, the Justice
Since late September. The Justice Department. But,
Department in Madison has had it. They
Yeah.
made him like a special envoy or something.
yeah,
or
he deals with excessive force issues. So I didn't know that it would take 3 months to figure that out, but we'll have to see. And just don't burn the rest of our city down, because
Nope.
it's going to take many years to get back our uptown area. And we never did talk about that in prior weeks, but I still can't understand this fixation about the uptown. I understand rebuilding it, but to spend 40 million, or was it billion? I don't know. What's a couple numbers one way or another?
Well, that's a private developer, though.
That's
long
what
as
I
it's
can't
not tax
understand,
money.
because I mean, if they're going to replace some of those crime-ridden places and replace, okay, I get that. But, we can only do one thing at a time. We've been trying to rehab the downtown for 50 years, and finally we got to a point, and the parking ramp should be open shortly. They had some year-end snafus, apparently, but that's going to be great. And I think if the downtown's the place to be, and if you're going to replace City Hall with a nice open-aired entertainment center, I think that's great. Make it a destination point. And the trolley will finally, after 25 years, serve a purpose. You can get off on that parking ramp, get on the trolley, take you all the way down to the lake, back around, and instead of costing us $500,000 a year, maybe we can make some money, or at least break even.
Well, I know a lot of spots on the parking ramp are reserved already for the downtown businesses.
Oh, yeah, the Stella has to, I think there's 400 spots, thereabouts. So I know we know one that's got some spots, and I know the Stella's got to have some spots.
My friend that owns a bank said I think he's got 40 in there.
Yeah.
So that's,
That's the reason he came here, because there's no parking. Where's he going to park? And so you had the Stella with that $26 million development. They weren't going to come here unless you had a parking lot right across the street. And unfortunately, it should have been open by now. But when they were hooking up some of the gas lines, they found out some of the old footings that were left over from that.
there was a fire station there. That was a original fire station outside that site.
And then there was some left over on 8th Avenue from the malt factory that burned down in 1909 or something like that. So
That's where the Stella is.
that
was
right, that 8th Avenue right there. So anyway, we'll have to see how that works out. It's been a tough year for the restaurant business. Some won't ever open, and
Nope.
you can't. I'm not sure what 25% distancing is going to do. Trying to go out for dinner over the last 10 days, and if you want to go to a nice place that used to maybe seat 170, 12 couples is all they're doing. They can't even. It costs them more to turn the lights on and turn the heat on. So I gotta hope that it can't get much worse, and you can't shut down and put all these rules and regulations on them. And there was a place, I think it was in New Jersey, that got cited the third time because they had a New Year's Eve bash, or just packed them all in. And the guy says, well, I'll pay $1,000 fine, but it's still less than nothing, or just 45% distancing. So, yeah, it's different. And I got a feeling it's going to be at least 6 months before we pull out of this. What do you think, Emma? Do you think we can pull out of this? It's going to be more than Easter. It's going to be more.
Well, once they got the vaccine, and the whole thing they're finally saying, herd immunity is the thing. Enough people are going to have had it already. Now they're saying some people are immune already. They just, it's built into them. And enough people get the vaccine, and eventually it'll never totally die out. It'll be like the flu.
I think
it'll be around for a long time.
I think the mask deal is going to be here at least to June 1st, if not before.
I've talked to doctors. They say it's pointless. It doesn't work. It just makes people feel good. That's
what's happened to this whole thing. It's either you're for it or you're not. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing with the political thing. And we don't want to go there, but I mean, it's really kind of a divide of the country. And people don't want to wear masks. They don't. And some feel that they're so fearful of this thing. We got to call.
We got to call. Morning here in Kenosha today.
Good morning and Happy New Year.
That's my man.
I figured I would be your New Year's baby, the first caller of the year. I even beat Shirley.
Are you wearing a diaper?
Yeah, but that's for other reasons.
Leakage. So
I got my issue of the year.
Okay.
It's nationwide, and I think this is the biggest issue of the year. I don't know what you'd want to call it, demoralization or tying of the hands of police departments and law enforcement nationwide.
Mm-hmm. That was going to get on that was the next point I had up, a question, defunding the police versus, like we talked, defunding the criminals. I mean, I don't think you want to defund the police department. And if anything, you got to add more. And like Emma said last week, what's the 3 S's? Sanitation?
Streets, safety, and sanitation.
Yeah.
You take care of that, all the rest of the stuff takes care of itself. So.
In my case, as long as they send me my Social Security check, the rest, I don't care about the rest.
I think George Soros ought to defund the rioters.
That's right.
Who should be defunded.
Mm-hmm.
Has that ever been proven, or is that just a rumor or a myth? Or
that's proven. That's been proven that he and other, I don't know what you'd want to call them, subversive, rich, disruptive groups. They drop off gear at the sites of the riots for the rioters to use. They drop off bats, other rioting gear for them to use, bricks, things like that.
I remember
that's been proven.
Last summer when we had the unrest, they had a big U-Haul that came in, or somebody rented this, and they were unloading exactly what you said. And the guy says, "What's all the gas for?" He says, "Well, we're going to have a bonfire." Well, one, where's the logs? And the other one says, "Well, we're going to have a cookout." Well, where's the grills? So didn't he?
It's a shame that now the criminals seem to have the upper hand on the police. They're the ones that go into a situation with a timid attitude, where it used to be the criminal used to be afraid to do something wrong because the police were there. Now it's like, hey, we have the upper hand.
Hey, trial lawyers, that's why.
Yeah, some lawyers are making a big time, killing out of this. Hey, I want to congratulate you on your Lifetime Achievement Award.
Thank you.
You want to know what it was?
Well, it took a lifetime to achieve, so what was it?
Well, you visited your 1,000th mall in 2020. You're a Hall of Fame material.
That's Mall of Fame.
Mall of
Fame.
Hey, did you follow the Badgers? If I got this here. They played in that coveted Duke's. Where the heck is it here?
The Mayo Bowl.
Duke Mayo Bowl.
The Duke Mayo Bowl. And of course, they were only 3-3, and so they win this, and so they're having the post-game party, and the quarterback was showing off this. I don't know. I'm just gonna flip it up to this glass trophy, and it slipped out of his hands and it shattered on the floor into 1,000 pieces. So you know what I'm thinking, Dennis? Here's a first round draft pick for the Bears. He'd fit right in.
Well, he would because he fumbled the ball, you might say, but they're going to preserve that trophy. I heard they're going to send it to the Mayo Clinic.
All right.
You know, how many bowl games were there? There were more bowl games, almost 40 of them that started. And you know what? Did you watch any of the games yesterday?
I watched a little bit of the Alabama game and very little of the Ohio State. Who won the Ohio State game?
Ohio State.
Charleston.
40-something. What the heck was it? 42 to... that's another page. Oh, they just put a stinging on Clemson. It was...
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Wow.
49 to 28.
Wow.
And this quarterback for Ohio State threw from some 5 or 6 touchdowns, and he took a shot in the first half. I can't pronounce the guy's name. For one of these, not spearing, but a targeting, where he just lays into him, and he laid him out. It was a crunch. What a coincidence! The guy got kicked out of last year's bowl game against Ohio State for doing the same thing. And another one of their starters had to sit out, got kicked out of last week's game against Northwestern for targeting, and had to sit out the first half. So I'm thinking, Clemson's showing these guys how to do this. This is just not a coincidence. So to put a hurt on them like 49 to 28, I didn't feel bad about that. I did feel Alabama beat Notre Dame convincingly. So now you got Ohio State playing Alabama in a week from Monday. So I think that's going to be a good game.
Yeah, boy, but the wise guys really know their stuff. Notre Dame was getting 19.5 points, and they lost by 17.
Yep.
Well, yeah, go figure. But didn't Notre Dame just beat Clemson? Or no?
Yeah, in the middle of the season, not in the postseason.
In fact, Clemson was 10-2. Notre Dame was 10-2. But I don't understand, I guess, how those teams could play full schedules, and yet Madison, the Badgers only played 6 games and ended up to a bowl game. Didn't the Big Ten switch the rules so that allowed schools like Ohio State to get to a bowl game like this?
I think they had a rule, and it would have precluded them from participating, but they voted and changed the rule so they could.
Go figure, huh?
Yeah.
So
follow the money.
Sports was a whole lot different in 2020. We had NBA that canceled the season and went back and played in a bubble. Baseball season was virtually nothing.
Football. What's going to be interesting with all these sports? Because of some of the idiocy of some of the players, of what was done during this whole fiasco, I wonder if they will come back when everything is gets back to normal. I wonder if there will be a full stadium.
I don't think not this year, but they're. I think that's going to be a year away, but they're going to allow some people in the stadium, but do the social distancing.
Well, in the NFL, some people who've been on ticket lists for the more iconic teams, they might get a shot at some season tickets because I heard some season tickets holders are giving up their tickets.
Well, I have a friend of ours that is a season ticket holder. He's got 4, this many. And I said, are you going to get a refund? They haven't notified him yet. But they're going to notify him. He said, I haven't talked to him the last couple of days. They're going to notify him if they're going to allow people in there and how much it's going to cost him. But I think he pays a couple $1,000 for 4 season tickets that are on the 40th row and about the 20-yard line. These were old Milwaukee County Stadium tickets.
Oh, okay.
That's when he got transferred to that thing. How long has that been?
The gold package?
In the gold ticket package, yeah.
And so I like the Packers when they at least allowed, friends and first responders in. Yeah, or go sit in the cold and freeze your butt off when we play on Sunday afternoon.
That Bakhtiari injury may hurt them, but I think they'll still beat the Bears.
That's huge.
You know what, though? Here they signed this big contract, and I read, or they had an article, this really doesn't cost the Packers because, if you remember a guy named Sterling Sharp that got hurt
Sure.
and disabled, they cover that by disability insurance. The premiums are pretty hefty when it gets to this, but and his money won't count against the cap. I guess that was the deal. So when he's done, when he goes on injured reserve, and he's one game left, but he's got to be done for the rest of the year before he falls into that category. But and not even in a game, was on a practice.
ACL. That's a devastating injury for football. So.
Yeah, that happened to that quarterback from the Vikings a couple years. Teddy Bridgewater was just turning around and out it goes.
It's like a year in rehab for that. So.
That brings me another question, Dennis. Suppose you're at the mall, just walking on minding your own business, and down you go because of an ACL tear. How's that going to look on your Hall of Fame resume?
Well, I would get taken to one of those mall emergency doctor storefronts. I'd get taken there first and give them some business, you know.
You give them the business, all right.
And maybe I'd get a free massage in one of those mall massage chairs.
Hey, and you could take your shoes and socks off and have that gal paint your toenails pink. You know, just.
Well, no, if I did that, they'd probably evacuate the mall.
So, what do you think the chances of the Bears? I mean, although Akeem Hicks is supposed to play,
Bakhtiari, that won't even make a difference. Put it this way: the key position is quarterback, and Rodgers is 10 times as good as Trubisky.
Yep.
You know, I was watching the Bears. They won pretty good last week, didn't they? I was watching them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah, they did.
And
Yeah.
of course, they played the worst team in football. That's the other.
Yeah. And so I think it was Cowher, who was the former coach of the Pittsburgh. Yeah. And he was saying he would make a good number 2 quarterback. He just can't read a defense, and he was showing on the replay. Look he's just looking at one guy, and he's not looking over like Rodgers.
Yeah, they telegraph it.
Yeah, and Rodgers looks the whole field, and that ball comes out, within 2-3 seconds. And that's big. I think, in my view, the biggest difference in Aaron Rodgers this year. He's got plays, and of course he's got Devontae Adams. That don't hurt anything,
Right.
And he could just.
I think Jake from State Farm could do better than Trubisky. I
haven't seen. Actually, I'll do you one better. I think Flo could outbeat Jake from State Farm.
Well, it depends on the time of the month.
Oh, come on.
Oh.
Jeez, I'm waiting for Gunga to call in and take us down to that level. You didn't have to do that right away.
Hey, I was talking to actually, the priest was talking to us in the congregation, and he said he was from India. And the guy asked Gunga about this. He said the last day of the year is their Thanksgiving Day, where they give thanks for everything that happened during the year.
And then they slaughter the crap out of a goat and a camel. Oh well.
Oh, well.
Geez, I was waiting for Gunga, but see who else. What's
Gunga and Shirley? Where's Shirley?
Maybe she. I didn't read about her in the paper today. Maybe she. I was just going to think that there was no arrest and or convictions, but sometimes the Kenosha News isn't right up.
I thought for sure she'd be the first caller in.
Well, she's not even close. You got her by 23 minutes here. Mm-hmm. So what's the big issue out in Waterford?
Well, they defeated a school referendum this year to renovate and add a new gym and parking lot area and other things to the local high school. So that actually our taxes went down. My taxes went down this year, actually.
You know what?
We had another caller here, Scott?
Yeah, hang on, Dennis.
Okay.
Happy Saturday.
Morning, you're on Kenosha today.
Hope it's better. Happy Saturday, everyone.
Oh, Paul.
There he is, Paul. Hey, Paul.
And
Hey, let me finish
How
this.
you doing, Dennis?
Hey, Paul, let me finish this. I don't know about your taxes. We'll get to that in a second, but
we have Shirley here, too.
Okay,
So.
my taxes went up 157, and everybody else's went up like 30 or 40. My assessment went up $40,000 because of the subdivision I live in. So I guess that's all part of it. I like the assessment going up for the market value. But all right, we're going to take Shirley on. Hang on, Paul. I know you got questions to ask her.
Morning, Shirley.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Cheryl.
You too.
All right, we're going to go back
I
to...
let you be the first. I let you be the first one.
Thank you very much, Cheryl.
right,
By the
we're
way,
gonna go-
Nancy says she loves you.
All right. Okay.
I do. Back to her
Okay,
too.
so hang on now. We got to
Back to
wait
you
your
two.
turn. We're going to go back to Paul. Paul, what do you think was the number one issue in across the country or in Racine in 2020?
Wait, I'm sorry, Scott. Can you say that again, please?
Say that again.
What do you think the number one issue was either in the country, the state, or in Racine? At least give us two issues that you think were right up there.
For 2020?
Yeah.
Well, obviously it had to be COVID, right?
Well, no, I'm asking for your opinion. I'm not.
Well, yeah,
It's not a quiz,
Well,
but yeah.
I think it was COVID.
Okay.
You know, here a couple things. A couple other points I want to make, Scott. I wanted everybody's opinion as to with what happened in Kenosha, with the rioting and the shooting of
Jacob Blake.
Where would you rate that in terms of the largest story in the history of Kenosha? I mean, would you rank that in the top?
Well, even if I talked to Lou Regani, I'd have to say it would be number one because we've never had ever in the 100 years or 100. Oh, I take that back. You know what the other number one issue? This was in 1859. My historian here. You know what that was? That would have outdone this one. The guy that got hung in Library Park.
Last hanging.
Floyd. What was his name?
John McCaskey.
John McCaskey got hung in Library Park in front of 3,000 people, and that was the last public hanging
in the
state of Wisconsin.
Yep.
So
Okay.
that's right up there.
Well, and then I was kind of curious. I would probably rank it as the number one thing that ever happened in Kenosha, number one event that ever happened in Kenosha. You know, number one story. It's hard to believe it's been 6 months, and I guess here's the other. Yeah, been more than like 4 months, right? 4 months.
Oh, no,
right? Since that happened.
Well, 5, we'll say.
That was in August.
It was in August.
Yeah.
At the end of August.
But here's the other thing I find really interesting. You remember back in, and I brought this up on another show, but you know, back in June and July when it was warm, and August, and, the weather was decent. We had all these people protesting law enforcement throughout the country, right?
Right.
And I find it ironic that that's kind of gone on the back burner a little bit. But what hasn't gone on the back burner is the fact that law enforcement continues to serve. Think about if over the last few days with all the snow and crappy weather, who was out patrolling the streets at 3:00 in the morning in the snow and responding to car accidents and keeping people safe?
You know, Paul. You know who was that out there at 3 a.m? Alderman Snowflake from the 17th district. He's out at 3 a.m. Jay Bagdala.
Yeah, right.
He is.
Yeah, but
Go ahead.
I wouldn't know if he was or not, but I just find it ironic that, once again, even though, when it was convenient to go out and riot and hate on the police, you don't see that so much now, right, in this state. Why? Because it's, 15 degrees and snowing,
That's right.
So it shows you their conviction, and yet these are the same people that, the same entity that gets beat up by everybody else. They're still out doing their job in the crap and the weather. I know at 3:00 this morning I was in bed sleeping. I'm sure there was a lot of police officers out dealing with stuff.
Right. Hey, Paul.
That'll never get reported. Right?
Since you brought it up, do you think it's a coincidence that apparently now in the first 2 weeks of January, the district attorney is going to release his findings on the Jacob Blake shooting? Do you think that's a coincidence?
Not at all. No, it's not a coincidence. It was by design. We talked about that on this show, and that's actually smart because we'll see how many of these people are quote unquote truly committed to go out there and protest if this gentleman gets acquitted in adverse weather, right?
Yeah.
We'll see how sincere this movement is.
Plus on Monday. On Monday.
Can I just add one idea on that?
Sure, go ahead, Dennis.
I do hope, like they did in that ruling in Los Angeles for the Rodney King case, I do hope they release the verdict on a Monday as opposed to a Friday night or going into a weekend.
That's a good point.
And number two, it better not be on Martin Luther King Day, which is a Monday holiday.
That's not till, that's third week of January.
Yep.
You know, Dennis, I got a compliment. That's why you're won the Lifetime Achievement Mall Rat of the Year for the century.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that.
All right,
on behalf
Sully.
of all the other mall rats, I accept this award valiantly and ask people who shoot people at malls to stay away.
Yeah. Hey, Shirley, I can imagine what your number one issue is. You didn't get arrested for selling dope out of your garage this year, huh?
Yeah, right. No, I agree too. That rioting, I've never experienced anything like that in my life, and I've lived here my whole life, and that was that rioting. That was the worst I've ever seen. What they did to uptown and downtown, it was just unreal.
Nuts.
Well, on Monday,
Paul, one thing I gotta compliment is that it did not carry over to Racine. I have to compliment Racine. It really wasn't, they had marches, but it wasn't violent, right?
Well, there were, back when George Floyd, when that happened, there was some defacing of property. Nothing to the intensity that happened in Kenosha with Jacob Blake. And there were businesses that were boarded up in downtown Racine, and there were marches, throughout downtown Racine and, through, west out, I think, to the mall. So there was some of that went on, but nothing to the intensity of what happened in Kenosha. And so you're right, Dennis, but I do think, one thing you have to be careful about there is the fact that, yeah, maybe that didn't happen, but also nobody on the Racine Police Department was faced with the decision that the officer in Kenosha was faced with. So, we don't know if a similar situation were to happen in Racine, how that would affect Racine.
Paul, you know why most of Racine didn't experience what we did? Because all your gangsters from Racine were down here burning down Kenosha.
Well, but on a serious point here, are you going to have the quote-unquote counselors out there in traffic stops?
Yeah,
right.
15-degree weather with snow.
Yeah, I gotta let Gunga join the conversation. When I call 911, I don't want a counselor to come up and say, "Hey, how you doing?" I want somebody that's got some firepower. Hey, Gunga, how's it going, buddy?
Good. Happy New Year! I am waking up from my birthday stupor.
Happy New Year, Ganga.
Happy birthday!
Oh, my
Happy
Ganga.
birthday! It's his birthday. Happy birthday!
It is today.
I've already consumed 1/5 of Jack Daniels.
Well, happy birthday, Ganga.
Hey, Gunga.
Jack, and I hope to speak to you on your grand birthday.
Did you?
Well, I hope so too.
Hey, Gunga, did you get
What are you gonna do to celebrate?
Wait a minute.
Coming over to your house to make love to you for over 10 minutes.
Oh, God.
The first 9 is taking his clothes off.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Gunga, did you get the Kenosha Today gift basket we sent you?
I did. Thank you for all the toilet paper.
You know what was the thing on Nancy Pelosi's?
Severed pig head.
Hey, the severed pig head? We got that off of Nancy Pelosi's front porch.
Did you hear about that, Shirley?
No.
Yeah, well, there you go. See, Scott, do you want to share with Shirley what?
Oh no, Dennis or Paul, I don't want to steal your thunder. But you knock your socks off.
Yeah, what happened? I'm curious.
Well, here's the reason I asked Shirley is because you don't hear about it in the mainstream press, and there's a reason for that. But basically, what happened, Shirley, is there was some protesters. They had the Antifa sign spray painted on her garage door in San Francisco that said, kind of like, lease the $2,000. We want it all. Basically, something to the effect of like they spray painted this on her garage door. forgive our rent. Something to that effect. And then they put a severed pig's head with fake blood in her driveway.
Oh boy.
Hey, Gunga, kind of makes you feel at home, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
Hey, when is the Pakistani Thanksgiving today?
It's the last day of the year.
The day after tomorrow.
No, it was Thursday. The last day of the year was your Pakistani Thanksgiving. So did you sacrifice a virgin and slaughter a pig and a goat?
No, we actually went to the fall in Kenosha and the scene and defecated in a planter.
I don't know, Scott. I heard that Gunga celebrated by smoking a pack of Camels.
Oh.
See what I mean, Dennis? You tried to bring our show down to 23 minutes after. Not even close. I got to wait till the master calls. From a guy with a turban from Pakistan riding a 3-hump camel to bring us down to
Smoking the camels, that's funny.
So, Gunga, did I ask you what the number one thing in your world was for 2020?
No, you did not. However, I have no answer for that because really nothing happens other than a lot of sleeping and in Pakistan there's not much to do other than
You're kind of a boring guy.
Yes, it's not a lot of things happening. A few bombings here and there, but nothing really to report.
You're
What do you
not
think
going to
of
do
that
well.
money that was sent to Pakistan for? Wasn't it gender studies or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we gave you
We
$650 million.
figured out what we are.
We gave you $650 million so Pakistan can find out if you're a man or a woman. That's true. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Gender studies.
I think you took that out of out of context, Mr. Barter.
How did I take it out of context? I read it right. It was in the Senate bill or the congressional bill.
So is that what they're trying to do? Figure out if you're a man or a woman?
No. We sent it to Pakistan. We already know what I am.
Oh. I'm still trying to figure out if you're a man or a woman.
Some days it's a stretch, but
Yeah.
at any rate, where was I going? Oh, you didn't get arrested or convicted this year, did you, Gunga?
I did not hear that. What was the question?
Did you get arrested or convicted of any crimes this year?
I have not. What time is your birthday bash tomorrow?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Here's what we had to do. We had to postpone it again because the Bear game and the Packer game got moved from noon to 3:30. So my kids can't make it. My grandkids can't make it that late. So we're going to move it to a playoff game with the Packers sometime in the next coming weeks.
Very good.
So you know where I'm
You know why I
registered.
heard I heard they moved the Bear game time. Virginia McCaskey was getting her hair done, and they had to delay it.
Rearranging her sock drawer. Hey, Gunga, you know where I'm registered, don't you? No, it's at the on the adult bookstore out on the interstate. I'm registered. They have all my sizes.
Right next to the gay bar that you.
No, I didn't say that. Oh, come on. Jeez. Hey, we're gonna go around the horn.
Are you having a party, Gunga?
I've got a party in my pants right now.
Don't you think of anything else but sex?
He's got a one-track mind.
They're doing a gender study on me as we speak. I got $2 million to see how much perversion can come out of one's mouth.
So, all right, I was gonna go around the horn here once, but what you're gonna do with your stimulus check? Well, Gunga, we already know that you're way underpaid for what you're gonna produce. Shirley, what are you gonna do with your stimulus check?
Get some more pot for my garage.
Kenosha
Paul,
police heard that.
Paul, what are you gonna do with your stimulus check?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know if you were talking to me. Well, hopefully, spend some of it, save some of it, give some of it away.
In other words, when you say give it away, you're going to give it all to your wife, right?
No, probably not. We'll probably hopefully donate something to like a food bank or something.
Oh,
like that.
okay.
But I
Well-
gotta, well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's
Sorry.
okay. So, Dennis, what are you going to do with yours? I know one thing you could do is buy me
Well,
more
before I
vodka.
answer that, you're a financial expert. I got to decide what I'm going to do with it. What do you think about the aspect of inflation coming? How bad is it going to be?
What does that have to do with?
Well,
It's always been less than 2% or thereabouts.
well, no, now they're printing money. I remember it was 18%.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
They're printing money like crazy. Once eventually, too
You
much
don't
cash
think, you don't
chasing
think
too
there's
few
going to be
goods.
hyperinflation?
Here's my suggestion to you, Dennis. You want to give it to a nonprofit? Make that check out to Allen Broadcasting, Inc. It's the biggest nonprofit organization on this block right now, I'll tell you.
All right. It sounds good. But no, seriously, what do you think about the aspect of the possibility of hyperinflation? What do you think?
Very probable.
Could be, I don't know. I don't know, there's a lot of
And
variables.
you were talking, how do you think the businesses that are left in Kenosha are going to do? You think they're going to make it?
If they let them stay open and operate, and I think once we get past this Jacob Blake ruling, and they don't burn the rest of the town, I'm just making a suggestion that if it doesn't work out on one way, and they come back and start, looting and burning, there's a lot of businesses that still are boarded up, waiting for this to come. Once we get past that, either way, then let's take the plywood down, and hopefully by Easter, let's get going. January is tough enough in the restaurant business, in the retail business, and if you got to hold off and now, I think, like Paul said, this is no fluke that this is going to happen in January, not back in when the weather was warm. So I'm going to predict by April, by Easter, that we should be back. It's going to take a long time to rebuild physically the uptown, but we'll see.
Yep.
I think you're right, Scott. I think by Easter things will be better. I'm hoping. I think they will be.
I got to.
And I think the only person that really made a killing out of all this is Gunga, because I noticed around August he put all his money into plywood.
Yep.
In Korean war bombs, war bonds.
Yeah, North Korean war bonds.
North Korean war bonds. It only affected businesses not only in the downtown, but we got a lot of restaurants all around the city. I'll just use the restaurants because they seem to be the hardest hit. But even small retailers that come to how are they living? Everybody thinks restaurants are making a killing. You got to talk to any restaurant. Net profit average is only 10%, and they're not sitting on a nest egg. They're just sitting to get through to the next month. And what happens? You lay off people. Not the Kenosha Unified School District. When we're losing $9 million, we put it to the taxpayers instead of laying people off or teachers off. But I don't know. I think I'm thinking positive that we'll be here stronger than ever by the end this time next year. That's my prediction.
Well, I know you were mourning particularly, not one of the downtown businesses, but due to the Foxconn situation, you were mourning the loss of the iconic Icky Ricky's.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Icky Ricky's was a well-maintained tavern. It used to be the Coffin out on Washington Road, Highway S, and Highway H. Been there forever. And Icky Ricky gets in there, and because of the expansion of Highway S, he gets bought out on his corner for $350,000. And he was complaining. There was an article. He says, "I don't think that's nearly enough." I tell you, Mr. Icky, you should have take the money before they changed their mind. Now they leveled it, and they didn't have to do much to level it, other than just down goes Icky.
Mr. Berger, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Is that bar associated with Sticky Vicky?
Hey, did I tell you the birthday party's canceled? I just want to make sure you understand that. There ain't no party. We'll get back to you. All right, Shirley, you got some weather for us?
Yeah, I do. I have some.
Okay.
Oh, boy, do you have some.
Yeah. Well, today,
Warm up.
what, Ganga?
I would like you to speak more sexy, and I would like the mall rat to speak in more moaning, groaning. There you go. Oh, nice.
Well, he's
Softer.
wow.
Oh, there you
It's hard
are.
to do
There
the
you
weather
are.
after that. Okay, today is right now. You can see it's sunny,
Oh, I can see all right.
and tonight we might get up to 1 inch of snow.
Only
And
an inch?
Yeah,
Oh,
up.
that's 1 inch larger than Mr. Barner.
Oh, come on.
At 33 to 25. And tomorrow, clouds breaking for some, a little sun. Warming up, 35 to 20. Monday, times of clouds and sun, and it's going to get up to 38 on Monday.
Baby, it's going to get up more than that.
Oh, come on.
Okay. Sunny to mostly cloudy at 37 on Tuesday, and up to 30, more cloudy, and 39 on Wednesday. A heat wave. We're going to have a heat wave.
Wow.
January thaw.
I got a heat wave right now, baby.
Oh, there I
Thank you.
Oh.
Hey, I got to tell you guys, you're done, Shirley?
yeah.
Oh, good. I mean, I don't have any good.
Thanks a lot.
No.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is, YouTube has all of these rules and regulations on we can't play music if it's copyrighted. Like the song we play is copyrighted by Elmo. Now, Dennis, my question to you is that moaning thing that you got going, is that copyrighted or is that your own deal? I don't want to get in trouble.
It took years to perfect, and surely to bring it out.
Hey, you guys want to hear the top 10?
Oh yeah, we just saw the top. Well, a pretty good top before, but the top 10 would be good.
Yeah,
compete
we're
with that.
waiting, Scott.
All right. Written in our home office here in the confines of Barter Manor, this week's top 10 thought-provoking category, Kenosha Today's top 10 New Year's resolutions for 2021. Number 10. Think of a snappy excuse for invoking martial law in Kenosha's uptown area. Number 9. Start an online dating site for Chinese operatives. Number 8. Order new hair dye for Rudy Giuliani. Number 7. Pardon Jeffrey Dahmer and John Wayne Gacy. I think that's going to be right on the list. Number 6. Renew ties with Jimmy Hoffa and Dick Nixon. Number 5. Put Vladimir Putin back on your family and friends plan. I thought it was cool. Number 4. Try to figure out exactly this quote. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. What's that all about? Try to figure that out. Number 3. Learn to say Nancy Pelosi without laughing out loud. Number 2. Social distance, Air Gunga, by letting your pants drop at midnight. And the number 1 New Year's resolution for 2021, this is all about me. Give Stormy Daniels the garage code for Barter Manor.
There you go.
What about Stormy Shirley?
Hey, as long as we have we got a couple minutes left. This goes kind of out in your area, Burlington and Racine, Paul. Gunga, do you know what the Burlington Liars Club is about?
The Burlington what club?
The Burlington Liars Club.
I have no idea, but I'm sure that I could be a charter member.
I said Liars Club, not Perverts Club. Dennis, you know what the Burlington Liars Club is all about, right? They give this away for, I don't know how many years.
People said
Yeah, the most
lie of the year.
unbelievable stories that you can tell that.
Well, here's the guy that won. He's Daryl Lockwood. Take a glass and pour a decent dram of your favorite whiskey, gin or rum into it. See if you can smell it. There's more to this. Here's another one from Janesville. Chuck Goldstein. I'm always jealous of my brother-in-law in Michigan because he's an hour ahead of us. He always knows the outcome of the Packer game before I do. Here's Dave Hildebrand from Rice Lake. I'm so old that when I was born, the Mormon Tabernacle Choir was just a trio. I think these are weak. They have no idea what lying is about. Right, Elmo? I mean, this is... if I would have submitted mine, geez, it wouldn't even be close, but it would take more than 2 pages to list it because there was some... I'm not proud of some of those things I've done, but sometimes...
You know what the winner should be.
That's Rocco.
Hi, Rocco.
All right, hang on. Here's what Elmo thinks the winner should be.
My granddaughter was in a car accident.
She owes me big time. I sent my granddaughter a text, Merry Christmas. She sends me back, this goes back to days when I was married. They wanted me to call me Umpa or Buppa or something like that. I said, no, just call me. She calls me Grandpa Scotty B. Now, I'm 18 years old. What's more endearing than that, huh? Anyway.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Hey, Dennis?
We got a couple minutes left. We'll go around the horn. Gunga, you got anything to add that's worthwhile?
I believe you've covered it all.
Unfortunately, Shirley's been covered too.
I'm with Gunga. You've covered it all. What else? I'm speechless. What else could we say?
Don't encourage him.
And I like Rocco. I love dogs. I like Rocco. He sounds nice.
Who's Rocco?
That's my dog.
Oh, Dennis, your dog?
Yeah.
That sounds like a pit bull. What is it? Some little silky terrier? They go, yip, 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 yip.
No, he's a Basset golden mix. He looks like a miniature golden.
Oh.
Hey, Gunga, we will have a post-production meeting this afternoon about 1:30 if you can make it up.
I will try to attend. Scheduling is always difficult.
Why? You have no
You're
life.
coming by my house first, Gunga.
Oh, yeah. You want to waste 3 minutes? Go to Shirley's house.
Yep.
Thank you.
He said he's coming over. I'm waiting.
Oh, he'll be there for the pot.
Right.
Hey, Shirley, did you and Gary blow a big bomb on New Year's Eve?
Yeah, we certainly did, yes.
Outstanding.
Did you make a bunch of your own homemade munchies?
Uh-huh. Yep. And I put my secret ingredients in my brownies.
Oh.
Let's go around the horns. And we'll start with Shirley, Gunga, Dennis, and Paul. What's your number one resolution, Shirley, this year?
Oh, boy. Talk more on the radio.
There we go.
What are you going to take over?
No, I will be drinking.
Now you're talking.
Got the rum shout out.
Don't you call every show now? Are our friends from WLIP still in business?
Yeah.
Why are you laughing?
Shirley, you got to antagonize Lenny.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So Gunga,
Hell out of Lenny.
hey Gunga, what's your number one resolution this year? Are you gonna clean up the smut in your world or what?
To call as little as possible, to make your show as miserable as possible, and to accentuate my love life.
Well, you should go on. Hey Gunga, you should go on one of those dating sites, boringpervert.com.
Oh, yes, I heard you gave great reviews.
I'm just making this as a suggestion. Paul, what's your number one resolution?
Well, before I give you that, Scott, I just want to give a shout out to all those city councilors who braved the nasty weather over the last few days to help law enforcement out with traffic accidents and, protecting general safety during this time. My number one goal for this year My resolution is to expose more of the people in my circle of influence to alternative media sources.
Oh, how are you going to do that?
Several different ways. Engage them in conversation, text them stories from these alternative news sources. Do what I did with Shirley. Mention if she had heard the story on Nancy Pelosi, and she had not, and told her why she hadn't. So just those ways I'm going to do that. This show, other shows, I'll call up. I'll talk about, I heard on this particular thing, whether it be, InfoWars or Project Veritas or whatever it might be, this story or that story. So that's one of my resolutions.
I
Paul,
think...
may I interrupt you, Paul?
You may.
I would suggest that giving that information to Lenny Palmer, because he's a one-way street and he's a numbskull.
Let's end the day in a flourish, huh? Well, Paul...
He wouldn't know his rear end from a hole in the ground. He listens to the same crap every day.
And he's Nostradamus. He predicts everything.
He is an idiot.
I hope one day he'll be reunited with Squiggy.
Yep.
You know what? Since you guys brought it up, you know how you get in Lenny's good graces when you call in? You say, the first thing you say, Lenny, I agree with you, and then you got 10 minutes. You're all on your own. But if you disagree with him, now, Paul, I like your concept of, hey, here's a concept, because usually if you get to like Mr. Palmer, and he does have to create controversy, but then you get controversy if you don't agree with him, then he clicks you off. But good conversation is something we haven't had in this country in a long time. Debate seems to fuel everything, and I wish we could get to good conversations like this show.
That's right.
Yeah. No, I struggle with, when I call him up, I struggle with like antagonizing him versus like, sharing real things, because I like getting his goat, particularly with
It doesn't...
like, John Perry and Bill Lawrence and, but anyway, no, that's honestly what I want to do, is just, I want people to be more exposed to alternative news sources, because that's the only way we're going to keep our country halfway normal.
Agreed. And when you said, when the snow was coming down earlier, a couple of days ago, when I said Alderman Snowflake McDowell out in the 17th, he was probably out there at 3 in the morning, because that's his...
Making sure the plows are doing their job.
That's how he gets out of his house. And, he kept going to Menards at 3 in the morning.
Yes.
Scott, I don't mean to interrupt, but Dennis, you've got a Terminator somewhere around your property, because dogs only bark when there are Terminators. So be careful.
All right.
I'm not hanging up on you. I gotta go.
Okay,
Happy
Shirley.
New Year to everybody.
We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. All right, Dennis. Now, Dennis, you got a minute, Dennis.
Love you, Ganga.
Oh, okay, all right. Dennis, go ahead. Dennis, you got a minute.
Bye.
Bye.
Go ahead, Dennis. You got a minute.
I have a resolution, Scott.
What?
Never to miss an episode of the Kenosha Today Show podcast.
Right.
I guess we should just end with that, huh?
Yep.
Okay. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. Thanks you for your participation, and have a great weekend.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, everybody.
Merry New Year. Well, I guess that's going to about wrap it up for the January 2nd edition of the Kenosha Today Saturday Morning Breakfast Club. It's been a long year. We started on the radio. We started somewhere in the middle of March, and here we are, and we're looking forward to taking a couple weeks off, maybe kind of making some improvements of this, but encouraging more people to give us a call. And we want to thank our sponsors, Barter's Financial Planning Services, Kenoshans for Open Honest Government, and Charlie V's Kids for Cancer Treatment Foundation. We have been streaming to you live this morning from the Barter Manor Studio, located on the corner of Happy and What Went Wrong. And so for Elmo and myself, thank you for a great year, Elmo.
Happy New Year.
Until we meet again, thank you for the privilege of your time, and have a very safe and pleasant weekend.
Still working? Working as engineer. Doesn't go out much. He's got that evil still bad. He didn't come out when the Germans sang it. Yep, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that on there. Yep. $10. Yep.
Written by our piano player, Mr. Elmo the Insane.
Well, I'm not a crook.